It feels good to be in a room full of our people, right? Our nonprofit, our civic leaders, the people that make it all happen. And so, first and foremost, let's give all of you a round of applause for a heck of a year. All right, welcome to the 2025 Heart of the Shires brunch. We're trying something new, so let us know how it's going. We know that we dip in the lunchtime usually for both this and the Women's Leadership Luncheon, but we thought we'd try something a little bit different and do early morning, and then you guys can get on your way to the rest of your business day. Before we begin, I do want to thank Powers Market for this delicious brunch. Give them a round of applause if you would. I also like to take a moment as we do this event to honor our civic servants. I think we'd be remiss, I would be, as an executive director, to not call out some board members in this room today. So if you're on the Chamber, Shires DMO, or Young Professional Board, could you just stand up and be acknowledged? And we just want to thank you, our staff, and I want to thank you. Great, thank you. John, you're also on the DMO, and Jeannie, you're on the DMO. The Heart of the Shire celebration was created to honor and uplift the people and organizations who make southwestern Vermont such a special place to live, work, and belong. Those are often our community's quiet champions, although some of you are loud sometimes, which is totally fine. We love that about you. The ones who lead with compassion, roll up their sleeves, and build connections where it's needed most. At the Chamber, we believe these civic individuals and nonprofits are truly the heart and soul of our region, creating ripples of good that strengthen the entire community. And at a time like this, and a year like this, I think we need it now more than ever. Today's event would not be possible without especially our presenting sponsors. We have Coggins Auto Group and Fidium Fiber. Give them a round of applause. They're going to come up a little bit later. Their commitment to this region and to gatherings like this that bring us together is something we deeply value. We know they value it as well. So thank you, Coggins, and thank you, Fidium Business. We also want to thank our hosts here at the Park McCullough Historic Governor's Mansion for welcoming us into this extraordinary place. We really do love this place. If you've been with the Chamber for a little bit, we've come back to this place from time to time. It's just a really cozy place, especially on a November morning, and so we thank Park McCullough for that as well. So give them a round of applause. Finally, a heartfelt thank you to our supporting sponsors, those that, again, their generosity has made this day possible, so I'll give them a quick shout out here and then we can give them a round of applause. We have Vermont News and Media, publishers of the Bennington Banner and Manchester Journal. We have Abuela's Plant Boutique and Floral Design Studio, all these beautiful flowers that you see around you today. The Shires Young Professionals, VNA and Hospice of the Southwest Region, United Counseling Services, and GVH Studios. Let's give them a round of applause. So here's how today's going to unfold. If you've been to one of these before, you know we run a pretty tight ship. We want to celebrate. We want to feed you. We want to hear some really inspiring things, and then we want to get you on your way. So we're always a little bit time bound, and hopefully we're respecting your time and your time away from your nonprofit and other duties. So. But here's how today's going to unfold. First, we're going to hear from our presenting sponsors, both Coggins Auto Group and Fidium Business, to share with you the importance of today. Afterward, we're thrilled to welcome our keynote speaker, Chelsea Bardot-Lewis, Executive Director of the Vermont Business for Social Responsibility, or VBSR. We're really excited to have her come talk. She's new to at least this nonprofit, but you've been in the field. We'll introduce Chelsea a little bit later. And then finally, one of our favorite parts of doing this truly is we'll close out the morning by recognizing this year's Heart of the Shires Award, Community Leadership Award, and Lindy Lynch Volunteer of the Year Award recipients. Before we start today's program, I would like to, and our staff and our board would like to take a few moments to recognize and honor a person whose leadership and service have left an enduring mark on our community. This year, we lost Stuart Hurd, longtime town manager of Bennington, a leader whose calm steadiness and deep integrity guided one of our Shire towns through decades of both challenge and growth. What has always stood out to me about Stu, many things have stood out. I think he always tells a story. I probably met him when I was 1 with Dad and Mom. But when I grew up, and actually he was on the selection committee for me to join the chamber, and then served as my second vice president as we kind of steadied the ship of the chamber for those first couple of years. But for me, Stu really represented quiet, confident, and resilient leadership. We know, a lot of us know Stu in the room, 40 years of select board, Tom. I mean, come on, every other Monday. He was deliberate, never quick to anger, and always grounded in long-term good of the town that he loved. His calm presence in difficult conversations offered a model for how civic leaders can disagree without division and move forward without rancor. In an era when public discourse too often fractures, Stu reminded us that civility is not weakness, but a strength. Stu's legacy is one of service, civility, and community. May we honor him best by living out those same values today. So, in his memory, the Chamber would like to present a commemorative piece to the town of Bennington that reads, and I'll pull it over here. In memory of Stuart Hurd, 2025 Heart of the Shires honoree, in recognition of his steadfast leadership, unwavering service, and inspirational commitment to the community. As town manager of Bennington for more than 3 decades, Stu championed collaboration, integrity, and progress, nurturing inclusive teams, elevating voices, and guiding public life with dignity and purpose. With deep respect and appreciation, the Chamber staff, board, and membership honoring his legacy of dedication, empowerment, and civic heart. So at this time, I'd love to have Tom Haley, Chair of the Bennington Select Board, join us to receive this piece and say a few words on behalf of Stu. Thank you, Tom.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. I think it's fitting that we're meeting today over brunch because that sets a tone that's friendly and neighborly, and that's kind of the tone that Stu brought to his work and to our community. Of course, I probably would have been here anyway because Stu hated things like this. I want to start by thanking the Chamber of Commerce for honoring Stu today. It means a great deal to all of us who had the privilege of working with him, and it speaks to the lasting impact he had, not only in the town office, but across our business community and beyond. So thank you for recognizing his service and commitment to Bennington. Stuart didn't chase the spotlight. He showed up every day to listen and quietly help guide Bennington with steadiness and heart. He believed that local government is the way it's meant to work, people talking with each other, solving problems together, and always remembering that community comes first. Every year, as part of the manager's evaluation, the select board sits down with staff and community members, and year after year, we're heard the same things. Stu's door is always open. He listens. He helps us work through our problems. That wasn't just a management approach. That's who he was. Stuart didn't just run the town. He cared for it and the people in it. I'll be honest, I didn't always agree with Stu. For example, he always insisted that our agenda setting meetings be at 8 o'clock in the morning. They're at 9 o'clock now. And the truth is, he didn't always agree with the select board either. You could tell when he didn't because he would smile at us from his place at the end of the table and remind us that he serves at the will of the board. But that was Stuart, principled, professional, and always respectful. Even in disagreement, he believed that we were all working toward the same goal. I'm grateful for the time I had working with him, for his patience, his steady presence, and his sense of humor, which always arrived exactly when we needed it. He guided the town through challenges and change, and he did it with grace. So today we honor Stuart not only with this award, but with our gratitude and with our commitment to carry forward the values that he lived every day: openness, respect, fairness, and kindness. Stuart, thank you for your service, your example, and your heart for this community. We miss you, and we will continue to build on the strong foundation that you helped create. Thank you.
All right, now I have the pleasure of welcoming up our two presenting sponsors, Coggins Auto Group and Fidium Business. I believe we have Val here who's going to say some words, and then Melissa from Fidium Business. So why don't you both come on up and share the spotlight.
Darn, I was hoping she was going to go first. All right, so good morning, everyone. On behalf of the entire Coggins Auto Group family, we want to thank you for letting us be part of such an inspiring gathering. The Heart of the Shires Brunch is one of those special events that reminds us why we love calling this region home. Because here in the Shires, we don't just live side by side, we lift each other up. At Coggins, our mission goes beyond just selling and servicing vehicles. We're driven, quite literally, by a vision of helping our community grow stronger, more connected, and more sustainable. We believe this region isn't just a beautiful place to visit, it's a wonderful place to live, work, and raise a family. And that future is built through people, through collaboration between local businesses, educators, and nonprofits who invest in the next generation, who care for our neighbors, and who create opportunities where they didn't exist before. I talked about this, I think, a couple years ago. It might have been our first Heart of the Shires, but some new data came out this year that was reported that nonprofits employ 1 in 5 Vermont workers, making this the largest industry in the state outside of government. Together, nonprofits contribute $5.7 billion annually to our economy. That's nearly 20% of Vermont's total economic output, greater than manufacturing and construction combined. That's incredible. Those numbers remind us that every dollar, every volunteer hour, every program makes a real difference, not just in lives changed, but in jobs created and communities sustained. So today, as we celebrate the Heart of the Shires, the leaders, the dreamers, and the doers, we also reaffirm our commitment at Coggins Auto Group to be part of this momentum, whether through workforce development, family-friendly events, or partnerships that strengthen local nonprofits. We're invested in a future where our region continues to thrive as not just a destination, but a home. So thank you for all that you do to make that vision possible, and thank you for letting Coggins be part of something so big.
Good morning. Maybe I should have gone first because that was very well spoken and prepared. So my name is Melissa Roslin, and I'm on the commercial account team for the state of Vermont. And Fidium Business has been here, but now we're expanding quite a bit. And I'm very honored, specifically this morning, to be able to be part of this event because even though I don't live here now, I went to kindergarten in Bennington, and my aunt and uncle still live here. And I was so excited to be able to come back and see the community that I loved as a child. And part of Fidium Business's commitment to nonprofits is specifically for myself. I've been working with a lot of developers who have been building homes for homeless people, for veterans, throughout the state of Vermont. And I just think it's a wonderful thing. And I'm so happy to be working with these developers, Champlain Housing Trust, the Housing Trust of Rutland, Wyndham Windsor, to help get connectivity for these people. Because, fiber and internet and telephone it's a utility now. We all have the right to be able to be connected. So I'm very honored. I just want to throw out a couple stats too that I read this morning for what we are doing in the area. If you haven't heard, I want to thank you to Matt Harrington to help get the press release out. But we have been bringing 47,000 passes in Wyndham County to get fiber to homes and to businesses, as well as 24,000 in Bennington County alone. So that's just part of our commitment. I congratulate all the leaders today, and thank you for all of your hard work, and thanks for having me.
Thank you, both of you. It's now my honor to introduce our keynote speaker, Chelsea Bardot-Lewis. Chelsea serves as the Executive Director of the Vermont Businesses for Social Responsibility, where she champions the idea that business can and should be a force for good. And thank you, Val, for providing those right on time, those numbers that just show how important nonprofit and the business community working together are. Chelsea's career spans impact investing, social enterprise, and public policy. Before joining VBSR, she helped grow Working Fields as its chief operating officer, leading the organization through rapid expansion, securing $3 million in impact capital, and doubling revenue in just 3 years. Chelsea also served as a senior leader at the Vermont Community Foundation and the Vermont Agency of Agriculture, helping countless Vermont businesses and nonprofits grow and thrive. She traveled all the way down from Waterbury last night, so not this morning, but yeah, where she lives with her husband Nate and their 2 young sons, Jack and Will. So maybe you can give me some pointers, new dad here. Please give Chelsea a very warm welcome to the Shires here and bring her on up. Come on up, Chelsea.
Oh my gosh, thank you, Matt. Thanks for having me. I love the remarks. I just love that the Chamber is having an event focused on nonprofits, because as someone whose career has really spanned public sector, nonprofit, for-profit, it's just an entity. It's a legal check the box. What we do is the same. We're employing people, we're solving problems, we're waking up every day figuring out how to serve our communities. So really grateful to be here. So thanks for having me. And here we are in the season of the sticks. NoahCon fans, raise your hands. Why is this metaphor so powerful in this song? No, really, why? Who knows the song? Because it's true. Yes, totally. I read this article recently that said talking about music is good for your brain, so you're welcome. What else? What else, like when we think about stick season, what does it mean? Even people who aren't from Vermont, something about stick season, like they got it.
It's hibernation.
Totally. We're like getting cozy. I think it's the ugly part of transition. So you have like the beautiful part of transition. It's fall foliage, people are coming. It's like that LinkedIn post you say, I'm changing jobs and I'm so grateful for this experience that I have and I'm ready to bring this to a new organization. Stick season is like, ugh. I'm gonna drink alcohol till my friends come home for Christmas. So I've had a few stick season transitions. It was this time 5 years ago that Mickey Wiles, who had just founded Working Fields, came to me and said, hey, do you want to leave your cushy foundation job and join this startup? So 5 years ago was what year? 2020. Who made a big life change in 2020? Yeah, I did. And it was the best decision I ever made. Spent 4 incredible years building that company, working alongside Mickey to try to make his vision for what supporting the workforce, supporting employers could be. Fast forward 2 years ago, around this time, Mickey said, you're the COO now, I want to make a plan for you to step into the CEO role. And wow, what an incredible honor. This is a company that wasn't just a founder's vision, it was really a culmination of his lived experience in his career. So I said yes, we started making the plan. It was this time last year that I was presenting to Mickey and the board a plan to reduce the size of Working Fields' team by 40%. And cut my own position. So I know a thing or two about this kind of the hard time, the icky side of transition. And I've also learned a couple things about resilience. And I've had about a year to kind of unpack that. 5 months ago, I got this new role as the executive director of VBSR, and I'd love to share a little bit more about what we do. But as I thought about, okay, like what have I learned? What is real resilience? And reflected more on that, I realized this is actually a theme through my life, and I'm probably something that lots of people in the room are reflecting on right now. What does resilience mean? How can we tap into it ourselves, our organizations, our communities? So people use the word cozy. I love that. Get cozy, get your warm beverage, see if anything that I'm sharing resonates with you, and if not, well, we're together, we're having a great breakfast, and you can raise your hand later to share what you feel like you've learned about resilience. So I want to start by bringing Soraya Chamali into this room with us this morning. Soraya, maybe some of you have read this book called The Resilience Myth. And what I love that she says, I'm going to read this quote: "True resilience draws its power from mutually nurturing relationships in supportive environments like this one today, serendipitous experiences, sharing resources." Anyone shared a resource today? And creating tolerant, compassionate communities. So we're doing some resilience building here this morning. And resilience comes from community. That's what I love about what Soraya adds to the scholarship around resilience, that it's not an individual grit thing. It's about the relationships we have. It's how we relate to community and to each other. If you drive down Route 7 for about 2 more hours, you get to the town where I grew up. I don't know if anyone's ever been to that part of Connecticut, Litchfield County. And my dad is a lawyer, my mom is an early educator. Had a wonderful childhood, 2 younger brothers. My dad also has MS, the relapsing, remitting type of MS, which meant that he would go through periods of time where his health would take a dive, and we would adapt from him going to walking with a cane to walking with a walker, being able to get outside and throw a ball with us to not. And there'd also be periods of time where his health would stabilize, and maybe he'd get a promotion at work, or we'd kind of get used to the new normal, and his health would go into the background. So it was during these periods that my parents bought a house, a big house, a historic house built in 1790 on one of those stretches, like those New England streets that you can imagine with like the big houses on both sides. Every house has like what year it was built. It looks like Abigail Adams could come out at any moment and welcome you in for tea. And then my dad had a relapse. And so my mom was not only taking care of 3 kids, she was going to work every day and taking care of a group of 3-year-olds, and then caring for my dad. So you might imagine that like taking care of the perennial flower beds were not at the top of her list, and the lawn sometimes wasn't getting mowed, and my brother's RC cars would end up in the yard. And I was in 8th grade. I remember coming off the bus, and there was a letter like stuck in the door. I was like, okay, like most people use the post office, but what is this? And I opened it up, and it was a note that had been created, like a ransom note in a movie, where someone had cut out of newspaper the message, Pine Street, that was the name of our street, Pine Street is not Skid Row. So I handed this to my dad. And no 12-year-old should ever have to see their father or any parent or anyone with a look of shame like my dad had. And he spent the weekend mowing the lawn, stumbling over the uneven ground in our front lawn, and leaning on his cane and trying to clean up the appearance of our house. And this is a town that considers itself resilient. There was a tornado, and people came up and they rolled up their arms and they said, we're gonna be here for neighbors. But instead of coming to check in on us and see how we are doing, saying like, oh, that's strange, like I wonder how this family's doing, someone in our community decided to tell us we didn't belong. And that was the last time I felt safe in that community. So I'd like to do a little bit of resilience building in this moment here together, because it really, all it takes is just someone checking in and saying, how are you, what's going on? So take out your device, don't check your email, and just write a text to someone. Check in, see how they're doing. Someone who you think needs a little bit of a boost. It could even be, hey, I'm thinking about you. I'm gonna give you 1 minute to do that. Okay, now put it away before you get a slack or whatever it is from the outside. Okay, so that was 8th grade. I said, you know what, I'm out. I'm going to boarding school. And don't you just like want to hug that girl who thinks, I just had this run-in with class, I'm going to boarding school or things are going to be better. Wow, like what an introduction to institutionalized racism, classism, sexism, and like no parents to go home to at night to like unpack, what am I experiencing? This does not seem fair. So I made some incredible friends. I'm always going to be grateful for the education I got there. But by senior year, I was having a mental health crisis and was connected with an incredible psychiatrist who gifted me with what became an organizing principle for my life. He said to me, you need to find a way to, so I'll just back up and say that I had kind of developed a pattern of behaviors that was not healthy. And he said, you need to find a more graceful way to say fuck you to the world. Yes, and I see you all doing that in this room together. So what a gift to get that purpose. This is what I'm here for. And that is also such an important part of resilience. It's the connections we have with the community, and it's the purpose. It's I believe that I'm here for a reason. So incredible, again, like this, I went through a hard period of time, and what I came out with was this mission in life. And that's what brought me to Working Fields. Working Fields is a staffing agency that connected individuals with barriers to employment to local employers, operated for 8 years, served thousands of people. We had people coming into our office who had been disconnected from the workforce for years. They were coming out of incarceration, they were coming out of treatment, and really had no hope that they were going to be able to support themselves, support their families, and we put them to work. And alongside an incredible team of people, a wonderful team of peer coaches, grew from one little office in South Burlington to an office in Rutland, St. Albans. We were operating in Springfield for a while, and then we took the show on the road. We acquired a little agency just south of here in Greenfield. We opened up offices in Maine and New Hampshire, doubled our revenue, raised $3 million. And as I said at the beginning, ultimately, through definitely a series of execution errors that I wish we could take back, also some just real rotten luck. I hope that resonates with anyone in the room. We ran out of cash. And that was hard. We made a big announcement September 2024 that I was stepping into the CEO role. And by the end of last year, I was wrapping up my time at Working Fields. So during that time, I was this time last year, I could tell that I was downloading this like raw wisdom of being in this incredibly stressful moment, and I started taking notes. And those notes are what I'm going to share with you today. So step one, the first thing I wrote down was acknowledging stress. It is so important to say, this is stressful. We've had COVID, we've had this series of climate-related disasters. Now we're having like the chaos of what's happening in federal government. Things are messed up right now. And just saying that, like we can't normalize this, that especially the last 5 years, we can't just sit with this and say, oh, that's fine, I'm fine. It's not good for our brains. When we don't acknowledge stress, we have this overactivation of the amygdala, that like lizard brain, that leads to heightened sympathetic nervous system response, this like prolonged cortisol secretion, so that stress hormone, and that leads to impaired decision making. So you're making worse decisions when you're pretending you're not stressed. So let's acknowledge we're stressed, name it, and then get to work making better decisions. The other thing that I would invite us to do is give ourselves permission, once we name it, to actually not be chained to it. So Vermont Community Foundation was a major investor in Working Fields. Incredibly grateful to the support of VCF. Lawrence Miller, who works at VCF, I called him up last October, and I'm ready to tell him, okay, here's all the things we're doing. Yes, we need some like emergency infusion of cash. Here's what we're doing. Here's how we're doing it. Here's what, and he just stopped me. He's like, okay, that's a lot of plans. Like, how are you? And I realized that I didn't feel like I had the permission to not be okay, or to be okay. He said, your number one responsibility to investors right now is to take care of yourself. So let me give you the permission to take care of yourselves. That's what our communities need, is for you all to be well, particularly the people in this room. Number two was radical prioritization. So even before we got to this kind of existential crisis stage at Working Fields, it had been 4 pretty stressful years. We're in the startup, we're doing the hustle. And a pattern that I noticed is that when things got hard, I was getting less done. I had this coping mechanism where I was like, oh, let me see what I can check off. Like, it feels good to check things off the list. They were not the most important things. So I started making this one item to-do list. What is the most important thing I need to do today? And get that done first. And then sure, maybe I get some other things done, or maybe in doing that incredibly important thing, maybe it takes all day, or maybe then it tells me, okay, like what is the next most important thing I need to do? And so I've been reading this book that I totally recommend by Rick Rubin called The Creative Act. And Rick talks a lot about presence. When we can clear away the noise, we can be present. And that is how we download that wisdom. That's how we get to enlightenment. Here's what we get to next. Here's the decision that I need to make to do the best thing for myself, for my organization, for my company, but for my community. And Rick says, yes, we can always be present tomorrow, but you just missed the opportunity to be present today. The third thing that I wrote down that I believe in is building your wellness toolbox. Does anyone in the room meditate? Raise your hand. Yes, okay, I need to talk to you after. I suck at meditation. It's never stuck for me. So I always had to do weird things, and I still, like this morning I did a headstand for 1 minute. So like get weird with whatever your wellness is in your wellness toolbox. And I'm not talking about like scheduling more spa days. Like for me, the most important thing was finding some rituals. This is something else Rick talks about. Like rituals can be just the daily things that we do where we can find presence. I'm going to be present this now. So for my 3 rituals every day, and my first cup of morning coffee, full body experience. I'm smelling it, I'm tasting it, I'm looking at it. The second thing is when I'm riding in the car and the sun shines on my face, I take 3 deep breaths and say, hey, I am grateful. The sun is shining. I have a car that's working. I'm going to this thing, and I try to let go. Where am I coming from? Where am I going? And the third ritual is putting my kids to bed. I have a 10-year-old, and I don't know how much longer he's going to let me put my hand on his back in the evening and get that skin-to-skin contact, and it feels so precious. And it is a reminder, okay, here's this moment that we're in right now. So again, here's participation time with a piece of paper on your phone. What are a few things that you feel like you could turn into rituals in building your wellness toolbox that you could try tomorrow? Another tool in my wellness toolbox was, this is something that was not making me well, was that little voice, like, oh, well, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen, that anxiety voice, like, and then if this happens, then everything's over. So I set my timer on my watch for 60 minutes. I went for a walk, I took my dog for a walk, and I just let that voice go wild. I was like, okay, tell me, like this goes wrong, and then what happens, and then what happens? And I took that voice at its word all the way to the end. Okay, If we don't make this money, we don't make payroll. If we don't make payroll, then the company goes bankrupt. And at the end, like, okay, where am I then? And I kind of sat with that. I sat with the worst case scenario, and by spending time with it, it got less scary. And then when that little voice was doing its thing and just, distracting me from being open, being present, being open to enlightenment, making the decisions I needed to make, I was like, I see you. You're not that scary. We've spent some time together. And I still do that when I can kind of hear the crinkle, the crackle in the background. And then the third thing is fresh air. It's so good for our bodies and so good for our brains. And I know it is so hard at this time of year to do it, but definitely it was transformational for me in my wellness toolbox. Number 4 is prioritizing relationships. Of course, we've already talked about this. When we go through times of crisis, we can often be feeling shame as well. So it's a divorce, it's financial stress, it's business challenges. The first time I got pregnant, I followed the conventional wisdom to don't talk about it. Don't talk about it too early because you could have a miscarriage. And then I had a miscarriage. And so not only was I sad and angry, I was also lonely. So the second time I got pregnant, I talked to people about it. I told them, not the world. I posted on LinkedIn, but I told my friends, I told my boss. And then I had 2 more miscarriages. And I will tell you that processing that grief with people who cared about me was so much easier than doing it by myself. So as scary as it was when Working Fields was going through struggles, I called up leaders that I admired. And in some cases, they were people who I had deep, trusting relationships with. And in some cases, they were people who I knew and admired but didn't work that closely with. I called John Sales from the Vermont Food Bank, and I was like, hey, maybe you've felt something like this before. And without fail, people picked up the phone. They cleared the decks for a conversation like that. And often the things that came out of the call were the things on my 1-item to-do list the next day. This is the most important thing you need to do tomorrow. So with relationships in mind, I will share a little bit about kind of where I've landed today. Vermont Businesses for Social Responsibility is an organization of leaders who are aligning their businesses, their nonprofits with their values. And we believe in the power and the energy in bringing people together. Similar to the Chamber, we believe this is resilience when we're in the room together. Particularly right now, there's no policy expert, there's no economist who's going to say, oh, this is what the federal government's going to do next. We get our best ideas and we become more resilient when we're in space together. So I am so grateful to be at the helm of VBSR in partnership with chambers and other partners across the state to do more of this, and am just so grateful to have shared some of that raw wisdom that was downloaded to me over the past few years. So thank you.
We've got some time. Let's give her another round of applause. Things hit different when you're a parent. I'll give you that. Trying to hold it all in there, a couple of those moments. So thank you, Chelsea, so much. Please, I know she'll be around. We're gonna get through the last little part, but bring it back to relationships and coffee, and so please continue to connect, and I know Chelsea will make herself available as well. Maybe she's one of those phone calls you need to make in the next week or so. All right, we will move on to the last portion of our event today, and then we'll set you free. We give out 3 awards at the end, and we're excited to provide these awards. I think my staff knows, the board knows, and I think you all know, permission. Take those moments to pause and celebrate people in the room, people that are making a difference. that I don't think we do that enough. We don't bless people with saying, just for today, maybe just for this hour, you did it. Good job, pat on the back. We're here to support you and praise you, and maybe you're up for the next one. So that's always the impetus behind our awards. We do some at our annual meeting, we do some at the Women's Leadership Luncheon, we do some here today, and we're always excited to hand these out. So first up is the Heart of the Shires Award. This award honors an individual who exemplifies leadership and service in our community, someone who has guided their organization and region through change, with integrity, empathy, and vision. I'll say a little bit about this person, and then this person will come up and receive. I do want them to come up. We'll have our picture taken with Max over here, and then say a few words, if you would, when you come up. All right, so this is the Heart of the Shires Award. I just read the description. Since 2009, this year's honoree has led with steadiness and humility through some of the most challenging moments in modern healthcare. From the rollout of the Affordable Care Act to COVID-19 pandemic and beyond. Under his leadership, his organization has become one of the nation's most respected rural medical facilities, recognized for excellence in patient care, care quality, and community engagement. He is a servant leader in every sense, grounded, collaborative, and deeply dedicated to the well-being of our people and places. Please join me in congratulating the 2025 Heart of the Shires Award recipient to Tom D., President and CEO of Southwestern Vermont Medical Center.
Grab a
Oh, do that right now?
Yeah, we'll do that now.
Okay. Well, thank you, Matt, and certainly the entire board of the chamber and all the members here. Very honored to receive this wonderful recognition. Some of you may remember about 10 years ago, our health system developed a community initiative of outreach called Partnership is Powerful Medicine. And then back in 2020, we were just talking about that, your last presentation was during COVID, we also came out with SVMC is Stronger Together. So these are just not marketing taglines. These really states the culture of what SVMC is all about. It's who we are and how we do business. And that organizational philosophy culminated in 2020 also when the American Hospital Association, which represents about 5,000 hospitals across the country, recognized SVMC as the top rural healthcare entity for community leadership and collaboration. And really I'm honored today to receive this award because really I know firsthand the power of partnerships. And our success really is driven by our people, our talented people who make up SVMC, but also the people in this room today, all of you who really, you collaborate, you work great with each other, the town, other businesses, and with the healthcare system. And we could never accomplish what we've accomplished if we didn't have the support of all of you. I have the good fortune of being one of the faces of SVMC, and I know I often get credit for our accomplishments. I don't kid myself for a moment. It's not me, it's really the people on our team that's really driving our success. So really I'm accepting this award today on behalf of our 1,300 employees who make up our health system. And but I also want to thank you for all that you're doing, how you're strengthening Shires, how you're making a difference here in this organization, and Matt, what you're doing with the board. We are very blessed. So thank you, but always remember, we are stronger working together. So thank you again.
Next up is our Community Leadership Award, and this one celebrates an organization. I know Tom wants to give credit to his organization, but Tom, that really, give yourself a permission slip. That one's for you, buddy. But this one is really about another organization that has really stepped up, that goes above and beyond to drive change, inspire others, and model the very best of what community partnership can be. Few institutions have done this more consistently than this financial institution. Through investments in local nonprofits, support for small businesses, and leadership on projects that have strengthened downtowns and neighborhoods, they've been a steadfast partner in building a vibrant and resilient region. They've proven that banking locally isn't just good economics, it's good citizenship. It is our great honor to present the 2025 Community Leadership Award to the Bank of Bennington.
Thank you. On behalf of the bank and all of my coworkers, we appreciate this. We're humbled and grateful for the recognition. The bank is a mutual bank, which I hope some of you know, which means we don't have shareholders. We exist for the benefit of the community. It's literally in our mission statement to build better communities. That's our mission. And it can't be done without all the employees who do the hard work every day. So I appreciate everything that they do to make the bank look great. I also want to thank all of you and all the nonprofits, because what you do is valuable. It's very valuable to our community, and your efforts make it a better place to live. So thank you.
My staff is laughing right now because we are so ahead of schedule, and I'm always ahead of schedule. But we want to get you guys networking and creating those relationships. So that's been a mission of ours, is as much talking as I have to do up here is to make sure you guys have plenty of time to connect after. So please don't run away. We've got the space, we've got the coffee, we've got the treats. Stay for a little while. All right, this last award is one that's always near and dear to our heart. It's the Lindy Lynch Volunteer of the Year Award. This award recognizes a volunteer who embodies the spirit of the late Lindy Lynch, a true chamber champion who gave endlessly of her time and heart to strengthen her community. This year's recipient reflects the same spirit of generosity, energy, and care. Whether leading a volunteer initiative, mentoring young professionals, or showing up when help is needed, she represents what volunteerism is all about. She's not here today, so I will read a statement from her, but it is with deep gratitude and admiration, and we should give her a round of applause, to present the 2025 Lindy Lynch Volunteer of the Year Award to Courtney Wilson. And I'll read from her what she wrote, and I think it really does sum up just the really servanthood, leadership, and volunteerism that she does. Here's what Courtney says. It is a true honor to be the recipient of the Lindy Lynch Volunteer of the Year Award. I've been volunteering since I was in middle school, as my parents instilled in me the belief that it is important to help others if and when you can. Since that time, I have continued this mindset, volunteering in high school at a dialysis center, being in charge of volunteer activities for the neuroscience club in college, and even being the volunteer chair in student government in graduate school. I genuinely enjoy it and also love to connect others to volunteer opportunities. I believe that volunteering is an important part of helping our region thrive. Being part of a community means giving back, and that has been a main goal of mine since joining the board of the Shires Young Professionals, to give more visibility to organizations that need our help in hopes that others will continue to come back and engage in this important work for the community. I could not be more thrilled to work with the amazing groups such as Bennington County Habitat for Humanity, ACT, GBICS, who run multiple programs such as Grateful Hearts, the Remote Area Medical Clinic, and Empty Bowls, Second Chance Animal Shelter, Bennington Pride Queer Connect, and Window Dressers. Organizations I am listing in hopes that some of you in the audience might consider volunteering with. And please contact me if you would like more information. You could do that through the chamber or through Courtney. I've lived in several different states and communities throughout my life, but I've never felt the kind of acceptance and camaraderie that has come with my involvement in this tight-knit area of Vermont. As a result, I've wanted to give back as much as I can to continue the great work being done here and making our community stronger than ever. I did not know Lindy Lynch personally, but I do know of her and the exceptional impact she has had on Bennington County, which is something I will strive to honor in her name. I would like to thank the Southwestern Vermont Chamber of Commerce for this award, as well as everyone in this wonderful community that I live in for supporting me. If not for all of you and your encouragement, I would not be here where I am today. I am proud to call Bennington home and look forward to many years serving this amazing community. Once again, a round of applause for Courtney. We have the award for proof. And we'll make sure we get that to Courtney. Courtney side note, Courtney is stepping up to be chair of the Shires Young Professionals next year, which is a great affiliate of ours that we started many years ago, believing that really the future, it's kind of a no-brainer, but the future of Bennington County is in our young professionals and our young people. And so we're very excited to have Courtney step up into that role. All right, as we close, hopefully it's been a great morning for all of you. Once again, I want to thank Coggins Auto Group and Fidium Business. Your partnership really, truly makes this happen. And Val, I remember we were at the beginning conversations of those, and truly both of your organizations make this happen. We probably wouldn't do it if it weren't for both of you and all our supporting sponsors. Thank you to our host, Park McCullough, Historic Governor's Mansion. Polly did want to be here today, but again, go back to parenting. Her son had a broken arm and has to have surgery, and you know how it goes. So I know Polly and that board is here in spirit. I know Alan's also away. So they were trying to figure out how to put somebody here, but at the end couldn't. Powers Market, I don't know if Sarah's around or any of her staff, but we want to just thank Powers Market for their incredible brunch. They're right down the hill here, so as you maybe end brunch and want lunch, check out Powers Market, Pangea, or Pangea Cafe, and that is not a paid advertisement from Nick. And finally, we do have to give a shout out to Cat TV, Mike Cutler. Thank you for recording this. This will be recorded and available, so if you loved what Chelsea said or you want to go back and see some of the awards, please do. Special thank you to my chamber staff, Michaela, Erica, Luis, for all the heart and hard work that make every one of these events possible. I love these guys. They show up on time, ready to go. And they really just are part of the family, so thank you all. And finally, thank you, all of you, our members, volunteers, and community leaders. You are what make the Shires such a remarkable place to call home. We hope you leave today feeling proud, inspired, connected. And like I said before, please stay, network, drink some more coffee, continue to build those relationships, and have a great rest of the day. Thank you, everybody.